It's very important now for modern hadal investigations to sample the entire trench, various depths and various different kinds of habitats within this place.
The next global conflict may not start in the sky or on land. It could begin nearly 7 miles below the ocean's surface. For decades, the Mariana Trench was considered nothing more than a quiet, lifeless abyss, a world of immense pressure, freezing darkness, and utter loneliness. But we were wrong. A recent deep-sea expedition brought up something from below that has changed everything.
Nobody thought the ocean was this deep. So all of a sudden we've got scientists saying, why is that?
This isn't just about strange new creatures or unique minerals. It's a biological key hidden in Earth's deepest ecosystem that could unlock eternal life and countless energies. But there's a catch. Only one country can control it, and the competition for this deep-sea prize has already grown quiet. But before we step into the details, if you want to uncover the secrets hidden in the deepest corners of our planet, make sure to subscribe and join us on this journey into the unknown. The secret in the sediment. We usually think of the ocean as a blue, happy place where dolphins swim and coral reefs grow, but that is just the skin of the beast. If you want to see where the real story is happening, you have to go down, way down. We are talking about the Challenger Deep, a scar in the Earth's crust that drops nearly 7 miles into the abyss. To put that in perspective, you could take Mount Everest, drop it in the hole, and still have over a mile of water swimming over the peak. For a long time, we thought this place was dead. It is pitch black, freezing cold, and the pressure is over 1,000 times stronger than what you are feeling right now. It is enough to snap a human body like a twig. But recently, a mission called the Mir Project decided to take a closer look. They sent a state-of-the-art submersible called the Fenduier down into the dark. This was not a sightseeing trip, it was a heist. The submersible acted like a deep-sea vacuum cleaner. It stayed down there, groaning under the weight of the ocean, and sucked up huge amounts of sediment from the floor. When the scientists got that mud back to the lab, they expected to find rocks and maybe some dead bacteria. Instead, they found a hidden universe. The samples contained over 7,000 different types of microbes. But here is the crazy part. 90% of them were completely new to science. We had never seen them before. It was like finding an alien planet right here on Earth. But it was not just that they existed, it was what they were doing that freaked everyone out. These tiny organisms were thriving in conditions that should have obliterated them. They were eating toxic chemicals for breakfast. They were surviving pressure that breaks steel. It turns out these microbes have a superpower. They have a biological shield that repairs their DNA the second it gets damaged. Think about that for a second. In our world, damage leads to aging and death. Down there, these things just fix themselves and keep going. This discovery is not just a cool fact for a textbook. It is a blueprint. If we can figure out how they do it, we are looking at a revolution that makes the discovery of electricity look small. But there is a problem. You cannot just go down there with a bucket and scoop this stuff up. It is technically the most difficult environment on the planet to access. And yet one nation has already mapped it out better than anyone else. While the rest of the world was distracted by politics on the surface, this mission collected 15 times more data than any previous deep-sea attempt. They did not just find bugs, they found the code to biological immortality. And now that we know it is down there, the race is on to see who can exploit it first. The ocean floor is no longer a wilderness, it is a battlefield. And the first weapon in this war is not a gun, but a microscope. But biology is only half the story, because buried next to those microbes is something that could destroy the economy. A treasure hunt in the darkness. So we have these powerful microbes that could transform medicine. That is massive. But nations rarely spend billions of dollars just to treat human diseases alone. They do it for power and energy. And right beside those biological marvels, the floor of the Mariana Trench is covered with things that look like dirty potatoes. These are known as polymetallic nodules. They appear like dull rocks, but crack one open and you are seeing the future of technology. They are filled with cobalt, nickel, copper, and manganese. If you own an electric car, a smartphone, or a laptop, you need those metals. Right now, getting these resources on land is a disaster. It is messy, costly, and the mines are slowly running empty. But down there in the darkness, there are trillions of dollars worth of these nodules simply resting on the mud, waiting to be collected. The nation that controls these deep-sea fields controls the global battery market, and in the 21st century, batteries are the new oil. But here is the twist. It is not only about batteries. There is another resource down there called fire ice. Its scientific term is methane hydrate. It looks like pale frozen slush, but if you bring it to the surface and place a flame near it, it burns. It is an extremely concentrated fuel source. Some estimates say there is more energy locked in this fire ice than in all the oil and gas reserves on the planet combined. Think about that. A nearly endless power source resting at the bottom of the ocean. It sounds like a dream come true, right? Well, not really. Trying to pull this material out is like playing roulette with a loaded gun. The seafloor is fragile. If you begin drilling and dredging to collect the fire ice, you might trigger enormous underwater landslides. And that is not even the worst situation. If we disturb these deposits the wrong way, we could release massive clouds of methane gas. Methane is a greenhouse gas that is 80 times stronger than carbon dioxide. If a methane burst escapes from the trench, it would rush upward through the water and reach the atmosphere, speeding up climate change overnight. We are talking about a climate bomb that could explode if a mining drill strikes the wrong place. Yet, despite the danger, the machines are already being created. Giant robotic harvesters that look like underwater bulldozers are being designed to crawl across the bottom of the world. They will scrape the seabed to satisfy the hunger of our technology industry. This is where the tension explodes. Who truly owns the bottom of the ocean? Technically, it is international waters, but in reality it belongs to whoever has the technology to reach there and the military strength to defend it. We are witnessing a new gold rush, but instead of pickaxes and mules, we are using nuclear submarines and AI robots. The stakes are so massive that traditional alliances are starting to crack. Everyone wants a share of the pie, but while they fight over the rocks and the gas, they are ignoring the greatest discovery of all, the one that touches the very fabric of life. The rocks power our phones, but what scientists discovered inside the cells of the trench creatures could power us forever. Why Big Pharma is chasing the abyss. Let's return to those microbes for a moment, because the implications are actually frighteningly incredible. Remember how I said they repair their own DNA? Let's break down what that actually means for you and me. On the surface, our cells are constantly under attack. The sun, pollution, and simply the act of living damage our DNA. Over time, our bodies become worse at repairing that damage. That is what aging is. That is why we get wrinkles, why our organs fail, and why we eventually die. But deep in the trench, life follows different rules. The pressure is so extreme that it should literally rip the DNA molecules apart, but it does not. These organisms have developed a supercharged repair system. They have enzymes and proteins that work like an elite repair crew, fixing cracks in their genetic code instantly. Biotech and pharmaceutical companies are looking at this and seeing massive opportunity. If we can collect those enzymes and adapt them for humans, we could theoretically stop cells from breaking down. We are talking about treatments that could prevent cancer from ever forming. We are talking about slowing the aging process to a crawl. It sounds like science fiction, but the blueprint is already there. And it is not only about medicine. This also affects industry. The creatures down there have soft bodies like the Hadal snailfish. It looks like a ghostly tadpole. It has no solid bones because bones would shatter under the pressure. Instead, its body contains a special molecule that prevents its cells from collapsing. Engineers are studying this to design new materials. Imagine a submarine hull or a spacecraft that copies the structure of a deep-sea fish, flexible, self-repairing, and impossible to crush. The military possibilities are endless. You could build drones that can dive deeper than radar can detect and remain there for months, powered by the environment itself. This is why the data from the Mir project was such a big deal. When they released some of that genetic information, it was like handing out a treasure map. Now, laboratories all over the world are trying to recreate these proteins. But this raises a huge ethical question. If one country cracks the code to anti-aging or super materials using resources from international waters, do they share it or do they keep it for themselves? History tells us they will keep it. And that is why the presence in the region is increasing. It is not just about exploration anymore. It is about occupation. We are seeing a shift from let's go look to let's go stay. And the plans for the future are absolutely wild. They are done just visiting the bottom. Now, one superpower is building a permanent base to live there. The new Cold War is wet. We are witnessing the construction of a new kind of empire. For the last 50 years, the United States has been the dominant force in the Pacific. But the game has changed. The approach to the Mariana Trench has split into two very different strategies. On one side, you have the United States. Their approach has largely been about conservation and mapping. They declared the trench a national monument. They send ships like the Okeanos Explorer to map the floor and stream the video to the public. It is open, scientific, and transparent. They want to protect the area and understand it before we ruin it. It is the moral high ground. But then you have the other side. China is taking a much more aggressive industrial approach. They are not just mapping, they are planning to move in. Reports indicate plans for a deep-sea station. Think of it like the International Space Station, but sitting thousands of feet underwater. The concept is a permanent base where crews can live for weeks at a time, conducting research and mining tests. This is not just a drawing on a napkin. Components are already being developed. And they are not relying on humans alone. The strategy involves swarms of AI-driven robotic gliders. Instead of sending one big, expensive submarine, you send hundreds of small, cheap drones. They talk to each other, they map the terrain, and they hunt for resources. If one breaks, it does not matter. You have 99 more. This is a strategic nightmare for rival nations. If a country has a permanent acoustic sensor network and a drone swarm in the deep ocean, they can hear everything. They can track every submarine, every ship, and every movement in the Pacific. The Mariana Trench becomes a listening post for half the globe. This is the new Cold War. It is quiet, it is dark, and it is happening under extreme pressure. The nation that masters the technology to operate down there wins the century. It is about who has the best materials, the best AI, and the best batteries. And guess where the materials for those batteries are? Right there on the seafloor. It is a self-feeding loop. You need the trench to build the tech to master the trench. But while the superpowers are staring at each other through periscopes, there is something else going on down there that nobody is talking about. Something that connects the bottom of our ocean to the darkest corners of outer space. The trench is not just a mine, it is a training ground for the most ambitious mission in human history. The final frontier is here. Here is where things get cosmic. NASA is watching these deep-sea discoveries just as closely as the military. Perhaps even more so. Why? Because the Mariana Trench is the closest thing we have to an alien world without leaving our own gravity well. We are actively planning missions to Jupiter's moon, Europa, and Saturn's moon, Enceladus. Both of these celestial bodies are encased in miles of ice, but beneath that frozen crust, we are almost certain there are massive, churning liquid oceans. And in those oceans, there is no sunlight. There is only pressure, chemical heat, and darkness. If life exists there, it has to look exactly like the life we just found in the Mariana Trench. Microbes eating pure chemicals and fish surviving crushing pressure that would flatten a tank. That is the absolute template for extraterrestrial life. By studying the creatures in the trench, we are learning how to hunt for aliens. The robots being tested in the Pacific today are the prototypes for the bots that will swim on Europa in 20 years. But to limit our imagination to just microbes might be our biggest mistake. This leads us to the shadow biosphere theory. For decades, biology has assumed all life on Earth shares a common ancestry and the same DNA structure. But the trench challenges that arrogance. What if there is a second genesis of life down there? Life that does not use DNA as we know it, or life that thrives on arsenic or silicon rather than carbon. Some theorists suggest that the bizarre gelatinous structures seen by deep-sea rovers are not just animals, but biological colonies operating on a completely different evolutionary tree. We might be looking for little green men in the sky while an entirely different sentient biology has been swimming beneath our feet for 4 billion years. And then there is the sound. The ocean is not silent. It is a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and roars. But in the deep, there are sounds that defy explanation. In the late 90s, NOAA recorded the bloop, an ultra-low-frequency sound so powerful it was heard by sensors thousands of miles apart. Scientists eventually claimed it was an ice quake, but the acoustic signature was terrifyingly organic. This brings us to one of the wilder, more unsettling theories, that the trench is not just a habitat but a hiding place. Cryptozoologists and fringe oceanographers have long speculated that the pressure of the deep acts as a shield. We assume prehistoric giants, the megalodons, or even older unnamed leviathans died out eons ago. But in an ecosystem that has not changed in 100 million years, why would they die? The abyssal gigantism phenomenon is real. Squids grow to the size of school buses down there. It is not a stretch to imagine that truly massive apex predators migrated into the crushing dark to escape the extinction events that wiped out surface life. They could be down there right now, moving slowly through the slurry, unseen by our tiny spotlights, listening to our propellers. But if it is not monsters, it might be something arguably worse. Us. The connection to the stars brings us back to a sad, militaristic reality on Earth. While NASA looks for biology, the Pentagon looks for invisibility. The Wild West of the ocean floor is the perfect place to hide the ultimate doomsday device. There are theories that the major superpowers are not just mapping the floor for mining, they are building autonomous unmanned stations. If you can hide a nuclear drone in a trench 6 miles deep, you have a second strike capability that no satellite can detect and no torpedo can reach. The glitches in sonar and the strange metallic shadows seen on deep-sea scanners might not be geography. They might be forward operating bases for a war that has not started yet. This rapid push to militarize and profit from the deep brings us to its most dangerous side, the ocean's biological Pandora's box. We search for untouched life, yet we may have already damaged it. During one of the deepest dives ever recorded, a robotic lander reached the floor of the Challenger Deep. It should have been a proud moment, but when the camera switched on, do you know what appeared? A beer bottle. Even farther down, they discovered a plastic bag. Humanity has turned the most distant place on Earth into a trash bin before fully exploring it. Tiny plastic particles have even been discovered inside the stomachs of amphipods living in those depths. These creatures endured meteors and ice ages, yet now they are suffocating on our waste. Still, this pollution could cause consequences we are unprepared for. The trench floor acts like a historical capsule. It holds bacteria and viruses that have slept for millions of years, microbes that modern surface life has never encountered before. As companies scrape the seabed for manganese nodules and drill through the crust for fire ice, methane hydrate, they are not only disturbing mud, they may be stirring ancient organisms back to life. There is a real possibility that the next worldwide pandemic will not start in a market or laboratory, but will rise from the abyss clinging to the hull of a mining vessel. This is the true double-edged sword. Our technology can uncover incredible discoveries below. Medicines for cancer built from unique proteins of deep-sea species, endless energy from methane stores, and clues about the universe itself. Yet the same technology allows us to contaminate and destroy these wonders faster than ever. We behave like thieves inside a library, burning books just to see better in darkness. Some of the strangest theories even suggest that the glowing light in the depths is not only for hunting but also for signaling, that countless shining creatures form a global neural system, a hive mind we keep disturbing. If the deep ocean truly acts as one living entity, how long before it responds to humanity's intrusion? Now humanity faces a decision. The Mariana Trench has proven it is far from empty. It holds immense power, the kind that reshapes civilizations. The real question is whether we will treat it as a sacred archive of knowledge or simply another resource to plunder. The deep ocean's quiet is ending. Machines are arriving, and whatever unfolds during the next decade in those depths will echo upward and affect everyone on Earth. A new chapter of global power struggles is already starting, and its ink is written in seawater. Humanity is gazing into the abyss, and for the first time ever we sense that something below might be gazing right back. So here is the thought that should keep you awake tonight. If a single nation gains full control of the anti-aging biology discovered in that trench, will they truly share it with the world, or will immortality become a guarded state secret? Tell us what you believe in the comments below. And if you want to uncover more of the ocean's hidden mysteries, press the like button and subscribe to the channel for future videos. Thanks for watching today.